let's get to the final match here. We had Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn, 2 out of 3 falls for the Intercontinental Championship. The rematch. Bron Breakker basically cuts a promo on the way to Gorilla. I don't know what we'll call these. Pre-entrance promos. Pre-entrance promo sounds good. But yeah, I thought Bron cut a pretty good promo. Sometimes I could see, you can almost see in his eyes, or you can even like feel where he's like hesitating a little bit, like where he sounds like he's a little nervous. Almost like you can tell he still like has that thing where he's trying to remember his next line. Like, so he's like, as he's saying his line, he's thinking of his next line. And that could be also the fact that they fucking script these guys way too much. But I still get the feeling that sometimes you can see that in Bron Breakker. Maybe it's the still some kind of nervousness of being on the main card. I'm not saying it's like so bad or it's like it ruins his promos or anything, but it's in this kind of promo, maybe because he hasn't done something like this before, it's new. You could see there was a little bit of like nervousness in some of the lines that he was saying, but he got it together and he cut a pretty decent promo. It was more or less him saying, "Listen, I'm a badass. I'm here to fucking wreck shit." Yeah, so I think as soon as he gets past that little thing of nervousness, he's gonna be really good. He'll be really good on the promos. And I heard he was really good. I didn't watch a lot of it in NXT. But sometimes those guys get comfortable in front of that NXT. I think all the time they get comfortable in front of that NXT crowd. So yeah, they're comfortable there. But then when they get in front of, the main roster crowd and they know a bigger chunk of the world is watching, it's a little bit more pressure. So I do got to say, because I was criticizing before that I didn't hear any dogs barking, and I'm still not buying. I'm still believing that people were gaslighting me because I didn't hear dogs barking before. Not as much as I hear now. You hear most of the arena is barking at this point. At least that night, or they mic'd it like crazy. A lot of people say piped in stuff. I don't like to just throw that out there. I usually only do that if I could tell for sure it's piped in. But yeah, I think the dogs were definitely barking. I was wondering with these pre-entrance promos, I get the feeling that I think they might be doing it a little too much. Like, I don't know if we need it every single show. I don't know if we need every show for somebody to do it. I think it would be more cool if they did it, here and there. Even if it was like every other show or, I just feel like they're doing it a little too much. A little too much. Like, I feel like it's almost like a quota. Like, they have their formula and it's like, okay, who's going to do the pre-entrance promo tonight? DIY. And then they'll just pick something. Last week's DIY pre-entrance promo was fucking garbage. Those two. Just enough of them. But yeah, I think they might be doing a little too much. But all right, so they basically had this match. It was again, a little too competitive for my liking with a guy like Bron Breakker. But 2 out of 3, you gotta stretch it out. I thought it would have been cooler if they would have just gave Bron the first 2 falls. Just said fuck the 3 falls. Because I don't know if I've ever seen that happen in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I always feel like it goes to 1-1. Which, by the way, do we need a scoreboard for a 2 out of 3 falls match? We get it, 1-1. Why do we need a graphic of a scoreboard? All right, now I'm nitpicking, but I felt like the graphic was a little much, a little unnecessary. It's like I think we could keep track of a 2 out of 3 falls match, guys. There was a really cool spot. Sami got the first fall, by the way. But there was a really cool spot where Sami does a moonsault off of the what do you call it? I'm drawing a fucking blank. The barricade. And Braun Breaker catches him right on his shoulder. A little sloppy, but again, that's one of those things. If you look, when I say I like sometimes a little bit of a sloppy wrestling, I don't like when it's perfect. When he caught Sami Zayn and he like almost dropped him, it wasn't a perfect catch, and he kind of just gets him. I like that type of stuff. It looks cooler to me. And it looks realer to me. But then he fucking starts just charging towards the timekeeper area and launches Sami Zayn. Lawn darts him. I think it topped Rey Mysterio's lawn dart. Lawn darts him into the timekeeper area. And Sami Zayn just fucking like a spear goes right into the chair, bounces back off the chair. It looked great. Looked great from every angle. He looked like a fucking crash test dummy. So got to give Sami that. Got to give Sami that for selling that and fucking taking that bump. That's a pretty dangerous bump too, though. If you're literally getting launched forward head first into hard things, padded things, but they're still hard. You could break your fucking neck. So great spot. That was pretty cool. But yeah, then Bron, more or less, they have their match. It's like again too competitive for me for Bron. I thought Bron should have I thought what they should have done is one of two things. Either have Bron just win the 2 falls, or they should have just had Bron win the second fall and then play with Sami Zayn for the last fall. Again, just because I feel like they need to do something special with Braun Breaker, where he's way more dominant. And I think he had enough matches with Sami where it's like they could do this. It's like fine. Like Sami's more or less about to be floundering. I think he's going into a tag team with Jey Uso. Probably get added back to the Bloodline storyline at some point. I think Sami Zayn's definitely going to be a part of that. The Bloodline Civil War. Especially now because he has shit to do. But yeah, I think they're going to definitely put him with I think they have a match already scheduled, but they're going to probably win the tag titles. And start sort of pushing towards the reunion of the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline. Cuz they should be start doing that by now. Or maybe after Berlin. We'll see. But yeah, listen, I'm not going to be too hard on this because, it still was a big win for Braun Breaker, and him being in the main event as the Intercontinental Champion. Big win on sort of a streak now. I'm not going to say he's on a streak, but at least he's on a streak as far as even his booking. He's like, he's doing all right. I can't, other than the criticisms I already gave. And I would hope at least his next opponent, maybe he's a little bit more dominant. Because I think if Braun is too competitive in some of these matches, it's going to start taking away from his character, I feel. But that was good. Good